So have you ever been ready to snap that perfect picture only for your phone to hit you with that storage-filled message? I mean, suddenly you're playing storage roulette, deleting random apps, praying that your kid doesn't stop smiling or that UFO doesn't vanish into hyperspace.
Nothing says peak modern living like panic deleting Spotify because you want to record your dog chasing his tail.
So how much storage do you need in 2025 to avoid these digital meltdowns?
We're about to simplify this mess. No rocket science degree required.
Welcome back to the channel. And if it's your first time here, what we do is we break tech down so clearly that you don't have to break your phone out of frustration.
Today we're tackling something that everyone deals with, but almost nobody gets right. Smartphone storage. Do you splurge on terabytes, stick with 64 gigs, or hover somewhere in the anxious in-between?
We've got the answers. In this video, we're going to break down exactly how much storage you need and what makes sense for you based on real-life uses. No marketing fluff.
You're also going to debunk some storage myths, show you some hidden truths about cloud storage, and help you make smarter buying choices so you'll never see that storage-filled message ever again, hopefully.
No promises, especially if you keep recording those TikTok dance videos. All right, let's simplify smartphone storage once and for all, shall we? All right, so first things first, let's talk storage sizes. If you're buying a flagship phone in 2025, your starting point is probably around 128 gigs.
Yeah, remember when 128 gigs felt huge? Well, now these days, it's about as groundbreaking as avocado toast.
Exactly. Most premium phones today start at about 128 gigs, like, the iPhone 16 or the Google Pixel 8 Pro. The S24 Ultra even skips 128 entirely and kicks it off at 256.
Yeah, translation, 64 gigs is officially minimalist chic, or code for you'll regret this in about 3 months.
Exactly. I mean, it's harsh, but it's also true. I mean, tech experts actually call 128 gigs the new minimum standard. Kind of like how 4 gigs was the standard back in the early days of smartphones. It'll do, but it can feel a little tight quickly, especially if you're heavy on apps and videos.
So what's the sweet spot? Well, the data says it's usually about 256 gigs. For instance, about half of Samsung's S24 Ultra buyers went straight to 256 gigs, with fewer opting to upgrade to the bigger storages.
Yeah, and despite phones offering up to a terabyte, only about 4% of buyers actually pick that tier. Probably because jumping from 256 to 1 terabyte can add around $400. Ouch.
Yeah, I mean, you're not lying. Storage upgrades can really enter your wallet. I mean, Apple's iPhone Pro Max jumps from about $1199 for the 256 gigs to nearly $1,600 for the 1 terabyte. Because capitalism.
Meanwhile, Google is slightly kinder. They charge only about $60 more to go from 128 to 256. I guess they missed the memo on ruthless profit margins.
The bottom line? 128 gigs is probably doable for most of the casual users, but if you take a ton of photos, videos, and love your apps, 256 gig is probably going to be your comfort zone.
Yeah, and remember, these days, expandable storage is as rare as the headphone jacks, so choose wisely up front.
But if you didn't choose wisely up front, don't panic just yet, because we're going to show you some smart ways to kind of stretch your storage later in the video.
Yeah, but for now, let's break down exactly what eats up all that precious storage space. Aren't my storage detectives? Let's investigate what exactly is chewing up your precious gigabytes. Spoiler alert, it's not just your selfies.
So first up, your phone's operating system. That's right. Before you even take that first blurry cat photo, that brand new 128 gigabyte phone is already down to about 110 gigs.
Yeah, so for example, Apple's OS eats up roughly 10 to 15 gigs right out of the gate, plus under the trunk for all the shiny AI tricks that they wedged in. And Android is even more greedier. I mean, Samsung's One UI alone takes up about 40 to 60 gigs on some models.
So basically, it's like ordering a large pizza, only to find that 3 slices are missing when it shows up.
Yep, and then come the apps, and these can vary wildly. Everyday apps like Spotify and Instagram only take up a few megabytes, but games like Genshin Impact, for instance, that beast alone devours about 20 gigs.
Now, let's not forget the sneaky storage vampires like WhatsApp and Snapchat. I mean, they hoard gigs of snapshots and blurry photos you didn't even remember saving.
Up next is your photos. I mean, a standard photo in 2025 may only take up about 3 to 5 megs, but then there's those 48 megapixel shots, easily 10 megs each. RAW format, try 75.
Yeah, translation, one vacation and your phone fills up faster than your suitcase does with Altel shampoos.
And then there's video. the final boss of storage. 1 minute of 14 video at 30 frames per second typically eats up around 350 megs. So a 5-minute piano recital, nearly 2 gigs.
Yeah, and if you're filming in high res or, heaven forbid, 8K, say goodbye to your free space faster than you say goodbye to your New Year's resolutions.
Yeah, one of my pro tips would be avoid recording in Apple ProRes unless you've got at least a half a terabyte. I mean, 1 minute of that format alone is 6 gigs. Literally why Apple blocks it on all their 128 gigabyte phones.
Yeah, and then there's music, offline shows, Spotify playlists, Netflix downloads. I mean, they all add up, but they're really just small fries compared to your photo and video habits.
So what's the takeaway? Well, for most of us, photos and videos eat up storage like popcorn at the movies. A few apps, a camera-happy weekend, and boom, you've burned through like 50 gigs.
Yeah, and once your storage is nearly filled, your phone can get a little cranky. I mean, operating systems typically need about 5 to 10 gigs of breathing room just to function properly.
So I hear you asking, okay, so what about cloud storage? Is that the lifesaver or just another subscription-shaped headache that's waiting to happen?
Yeah, I'm guessing it's probably both.
Okay, so let's say your phone is busting at the seams and you're deleting photos like a Marie Kondo cleanse, and it's still not enough. That's where cloud comes in, right?
Technically, yes. Practically, but it depends on how much you enjoy monthly fees, plus your privacy policies, and watching your phone's data plan gasp as you try to load a 4K canned video.
All right, so let's start with the basics. Apple still gives you about 5 gigs of iCloud storage. Yeah, the same 5 gigs they offered since the dinosaurs roamed the earth, or 2011. I mean, same thing.
Which is cute, considering that the iPhone backups alone eat up about 6 to 10 gigs. I mean, you'll hit your cap faster than TikTok trends tend to die.
Google One's a bit more generous, 15 gigs across Drive, Photos, and Gmail. But if you're like me and you haven't deleted anything since 2018, you're still probably going to need an upgrade.
Yeah, pay plans are pretty standard across the board. I mean, about $2 to $3 a month for 100 to 200 gigabytes or $10 a month for 2 terabytes. Microsoft bundles 1 terabyte with their Office 365, which is basically cloud storage for grown-ups.
Here's another pro tip for you. If you're an Amazon Prime member, Amazon Photos actually gives you unlimited free full-res photo backups, one of Amazon's best-kept secrets, possibly even from Amazon themselves.
But there's always a catch. Cloud storage? Well, it only works if your internet does. No signal? Congratulations, your vacation pictures are now Schrodinger's slideshow.
And cloud optimizations can get a little weird. I mean, you ever scroll through your gallery and boom, you get blurry thumbnails? That's basically your phone saying, oh, you want to see this memory? Yeah, give me a second to load it.
Now it's top money, because $3 a month sounds fine until you realize it's $100 plus over 3 years, which isn't crazy, but it's not nothing.
Yeah, it's the old death by subscription problem. I mean, cloud storage is helpful, but it's not magic. So you got to think of it like a store unit. It's great if you're organized, terrible if you forget what's inside.
Now, security-wise, most services offer encryption on your data. Apple even offers full end-to-end encryption if you enable advanced data protection. But don't forget your password, because getting back in can be a real pain in the ass.
Yeah, and remember, cloud syncing is not cloud backup. If you delete a sync photo from your phone, it disappears from the cloud too. That's syncing, not saving.
The bottom line, cloud storage is a great supplement. It's not a replacement though. It's a digital attic. Great for stashing stuff. Not so great when your Wi-Fi is down and you're in a bad signal area and you want to watch your vacation back in 4K.
So what's the move for 2025? Well, most people do a hybrid solution, 128 or 256 gigs for their daily use, and a cloud plan for backups and bulky stuff. I mean, it's flexible, it's affordable, and kind of lets you hoard all the means you need guilt-free.
Now that we've sort of unpacked storage, let's figure out how much you actually need, so you're not overbuying, underbuying, or living like some confused tech Goldilocks.
All right, so you've seen the storage tiers, you've seen the cloud options, but how much did you actually need?
Yeah, let's figure that out before you spend $300 just to store 10,000 photos of your dog sleeping in slightly different positions.
Yeah, if you really just use your phone for texting, calling, and occasionally Googling whether avocados are berries, congratulations, you're what we call a minimalist.
Yeah, you probably still have a 64 gigabyte phone, and you're fine. But if you're buying a new phone in 2025, go with the 128 gigs minimum, just so future updates and surprise app addictions don't break your day.
It's like buying a pants a size up. You might not need the space today, but future you will thank you. User type number 2 is the average user. I use social media, I take some photos, and maybe play a game or two.
This is going to be most people. You've got an Instagram, a couple of games, and a camera roll that starts back in 2019 that you never Marie Kondoed. That's the second Marie Kondo reference. I really like that show.
Yeah, for you, 256 gigabytes is going to be like the Goldilocks zone. It's not too big, not too small, room to breathe without deleting pictures of your lunch.
Yeah, tech reviewers love this tier for a reason. They can run apps, take hundreds of photos, and record a few 4K videos, and still sleep at night. User type number 3 is going to be the power user, aka I make movies on my phone and download the entire internet.
Yeah, I mean, if you're recording in 4K 60, gaming on your phone and downloading like 17 Netflix shows for a weekend trip, yeah, you're not normal. You're awesome, but not normal.
You'll want to start at least 512 gigs, maybe even a terabyte, especially if you're shooting ProRes or 8K. I mean, remember, 1 minute of ProRes is 6 gigs. That's not a typo.
I mean, this tier is pricey, sometimes adding $300 to $400 on the phone itself. But for creators, it's cheaper than losing that perfect shot because your storage tapped out.
Yeah, and quick bonus tip. If you rely on the cloud and stream everything, then you can get away with less. You just have to make sure your internet plan isn't stuck in 2007.
Yet remember, you can't really upgrade storage later. Phones don't really come with SD slots anymore. What you buy is usually what you're stuck with.
Yeah, so just ask yourself, do you want to pay a little bit more now or micromanage your storage for the next 3 years like it's your new side hustle?
All right, time to clear out the cobwebs a bit. But not from your phone, from your brain, because when it comes to smartphone storage, there are a ton of sketchy advice floating around.
And most of it sounds like it comes from your cousin Dave, who jailbroke an iPhone back in 2013 and now thinks he's some kind of a tech guru. More storage makes your phone faster.
Not really. Storage size doesn't affect the speed unless you're basically out of space.
Can performance dip if you're nearly full? Sure. But a 256 gig model isn't faster than the 128 one.
Yeah, just keep about 10 to 50% free and you're golden. More storage is not equal to more speed. It just means there's more space to ignore your screenshot problem. Always buy the biggest storage option.
Yeah, that's like buying a 12-bedroom mansion because you might get visitors someday.
Yeah, if you're not hitting 300 gigs now, then you don't need a terabyte just in case. Save your cash. Spend it on snacks. Or cloud storage, or snacks and cloud storage, but always snacks. More storage equals more RAM.
Nope. RAM and storage are two different species. More storage doesn't mean your phone can multitask better. Only more RAM can do that.
Yeah, some Android phones used to pair the RAM with these storage updates, but that's rare now. So just read the spec sheet before you assume anything.
If I run out of space, my phone auto-uses the cloud.
Yeah, only if you set it up. Your phone won't magically beam photos to your cloud unless you tell it to.
Yeah, just like apps didn't automatically migrate to your SD card back in the day, here you're going to have to put into work. Your phone is not a psychic assistant.
Full storage equals broken phone.
I mean, it won't break itself, but it might get a little grumpy. Apps might crash, updates could fail, but it's not a death sentence. Just clean it up. Closing background apps frees storage.
That frees up RAM, and it can actually make your phone slower by forcing apps to reload.
Yeah, that's like closing all your browser tabs and expecting your closet to be cleaned. Nice try.
More storage equals a better resell value.
Kind of, but not by much. I mean, you might get like $50 more when you sell it, but you're probably spending like $200 extra at the beginning.
Yeah, buy what you need, not what some Craigslist resale buyer's gonna want 2 years from now. So my final take would be smart storage is freedom. Freedom to snap, record, create, live life digitally without treating your photo gallery like some kind of a war zone.
Yeah, my final take is if somebody tells you that cleaning up your app switcher is going to free up space, just kindly smile, nod, and send them over to this video.
Yeah, you've got the tools, you've got the know-how, now you have the control.
Yeah, whether you're a minimalist, a memory hoarder, or, somewhere in the messy middle, just remember that. It's not about having the most storage, it's about having the right amount.
Yeah, and if this untangled your storage struggles, drop us a like and subscribe. We break down tech so it works for you. Plain, simple, slightly sarcastic.
Got a storage horror story that we missed? Drop it into comment section down below. We read them. We laugh with you, we cry with you, and judge you quietly.
Until next time, stay sharp, stay curious, and we'll catch you in the next one.
Yeah, just remember, digital space is like mental space. When it's cluttered, everything slows down.